What's a healthy meal plan for 50 and beyond? Make sure you stick around to the end because after I go through the contents of what I like to eat regularly, I'm going to share some combinations and some meal plans with you so that you can easily put this together. I'm Jackie Almer. Grab my recipe and shopping guide at lowertoxiclife.com. All right, so these are in no particular order, but I just wanted to share a couple of the things, well, actually, a variety of the things that I try to get into my diet, certainly on a daily basis for some of them and weekly basis for others. The first one I'm going to start with, and if you haven't watched my 10 brain foods video by Kwik, it'll be in the show notes below, but that is organic blueberries, which he calls brain berries. These are actually frozen. I buy them fresh often and then pop them in the freezer if I'm not going to get through them right away because they just work beautifully. So blueberries, number one, fiber, good brain power, antioxidants, good stuff. Second would be avocados. I try to eat at least a half an avocado every single day. Healthy fats, healthy fiber, and it's very satiating in the body. I've learned to replace just a half an avocado with any time I'm feeling the urge to reach for a tasty dessert or a sweet or maybe chips or popcorn or something not quite so healthy. So avocados are definitely on the menu. Now, I also have my infamous bulletproof coffee that I make in this. That includes organic, mold-free coffee, cacao powder that I like to add, MCT oil, again, healthy fats, grass-fed butter. I add grass-fed butter to it and a few other things. I'll throw in some matcha powder, some maca powder, cinnamon, fun stuff. And of course, I always add my collagen powder, which gives me an extra boost of protein. There's a number of different ones that I use. I'm not super particular. I just want to make sure that it's grass-fed, organic, and high quality. So these are just two Ancient Nutrition. I believe this is Dr. Josh Axe's brand, and then Vital Proteins. If you shop at Costco, you can find these quite often on sale. And so I'll buy them, I stock up, and then I always put the date on them of when I purchased it so that it's first in, first out kind of concept. Then I like to get in a healthy supply of nuts. I start every morning with 2 to 4 Brazil nuts. They have selenium in them, which again is a good brain food. It's one of the minerals and nutrients that we really need. And then walnuts are another one of Kwik's brain foods. And I'm gonna also show you how I combine these at the end to not have to focus on getting all of this. I also like to start my morning with 4 ounces of kombucha tea. This Synergy brand, the Trilogy flavor is the one that I prefer. Lots of opinions about that. It's something I enjoy. It's 4 ounces. It does have some added sugar, but I always eat it with my nuts. So I start with that healthy fat, healthy fiber, and that acts as a sieve in my stomach. And again, if you watch my review on Glucose Revolution and understand the order with which we eat food, that makes a difference, and cloaking your carbs. All right, eggs, another one of Kwik's foods. I buy pasture-raised organic eggs. And I usually only need 1 in a day. I'll usually eat probably anywhere from 2 to 4 eggs a week that I use in my morning scramble, and I will share that with you too. Then lean, healthy proteins. I am not a vegan or a vegetarian. I am an animal protein girl. I no longer buy conventionally raised meat. I use Butcher Box. There's a link below. And I do organic chicken. That's chicken thighs. I do wild caught fish, salmon, tuna, 2 of my favorites. And I try to have fish 2 to 3 times a week. This is organic ground turkey. I'll use this in pastas. I will use this, I make my own sausage with it. It makes beautiful scrambles, and I'll show you a combination of that. Then of course your healthy fats, olive oil, avocado oil. These are great choices. Always buy it in a bottle, organic if possible. And then my standby is organic coconut oil. This is a high heat cooking oil, and it's important to note a lot of people use olive oil when they're cooking high heat, and it's not a great way to use olive oil. It's made to be a low heat oil, but coconut oil stands up beautifully to high heat. So if you're doing something, stir frying something, or you want something high heat, which I'm not a huge fan of, I'll do a video on that, but organic coconut oil is great. This bottle or this big container from Costco lasts a long time. I use this in my personal care products. I use it to brush my teeth with. I use it for oil pulling, and I use it for cooking, as well as slathering on my body when I head out to the pool. So that's coconut oil. Bone broth. Can't even recommend this high enough. I make my own bone broth. The recipe, I have a video for the recipe and how I do it in the links below. And then one of the other foods that Jim Kwik recommends is turmeric. So I like to add my turmeric into my bone broth and also any other cooking that I might do, and that's how I consume turmeric. Now, greens, he talks about greens as well. Spinach, kale, microgreens. I love greens. You know, I love to store them in glass jars. Cabbage to me is another great, awesome, healthy vegetable that I kind of use as a green as well. And I will saute my cabbage, my spinach, my other items that I'm going to get to here. I saute all that up. I'll add it in with my ground turkey or different things like that. And it makes a beautiful meal where you can hide your veggies. I will link that video below too if you have kids. And then seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. I'm gonna also include the link to my seed cycling recipe for hormone balancing, regardless of whether you still have a period or not, ladies, because we're talking about beyond 50, or men, this works great for you too. And I'm gonna show you how I combine this with some of my other things for my fabulous breakfast that takes the place of cereal. Travel's great, you can throw it in a backpack. And I freeze it, throw it in a backpack, it goes with me, and then boom, by the time I'm on the airplane, it's defrosted and in perfect shape. I will share more of that. And then of course, vegetables. I always have this organic cauliflower and organic broccoli. This is perfect for cauliflower rice. Now I use fresh produce as well, but I always have these in my freezer that you literally cannot beat the price at Costco for organic cauliflower and broccoli. So these are always in my freezer so that I'm never without them. And then of course, I'm a huge red pepper girl. Lots of great nutrients in red peppers. Then, of course, the onion and garlic family. Again, I use these in my bone broth. I use them in my making sausage. Anytime I put this over the top of my fish when I bake fish, garlic and onion, as well as shallots or any of that family. Now, we talk about carbs and are they healthy or not, and there's a lot of ideas around potatoes. Are they good or not? I buy organic, small potatoes, and I typically eat potatoes 2 to 3 times a week. I am not trying to lose weight, I'm simply trying to maintain weight. I live a very active lifestyle with hiking, swimming, working out, and just all the things that I do in my business and my life. And so adding in some healthier, slower carbs is good for me. Potatoes, carrots, those are some of the things that fall under the iffy umbrella. You'll have to try them, biohack and body test yourself and see how you do. If you're really in that weight loss phase, maybe it's not the best for you. So again, every body is different. And again, I think not to excess. If you're someone who really loves potatoes, which I do, 2 to 3 of these little mini potatoes can be super satisfying, and then you don't feel deprived. And we all know that when we don't feel deprived, we're much more likely to stick to our food plan. All right, and then one of my favorites again in Jim Kwik's 10 healthy brain foods is dark chocolate. The darker the better. This is 70% cacao. You'll have to test it for yourself. Some people don't like the bitterness of it. I actually do. And it's kind of one of those things, once you begin to condition your tongue away from that sugar and that sugar rush that's in milk chocolate and a lot of those, you might begin to find, like me, that you love this. And I like to adopt the French way of doing things because I am French. And that is just 1 or 2 small squares after a meal is super satiating for me. Again, after a meal, because in the glucose revolution, and that video link is below, in cloaking your carbs, it's always better to eat something sweet, something dessert-like after a meal. So I never eat this all on its own. Okay, I lied. Never, that's a little extreme. Sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll pop one off and pop it in my mouth, just a little tiny square. So never say never. I'm an 80-20 gal. I share that all the time. I'm actually more of a 90-10, but I really work with my clients to get them into that 80-20 thought process of 80% of the time you're gonna eat like a champ, eat perfectly as best you can, and then 20% of the time you're gonna have fun. And then of course, always getting plenty of water. In my steel container I use, and I love to add electrolytes. Our water today is so depleted. If you use a reverse osmosis system or any other type of filter, it often filters out everything. And so the absorption in your body is going to be much greater if you include electrolytes. Now, electrolytes can also be lemon, fresh squeezed lemon, and then healthy sea salts. Different variety, because it's really salt that your body often needs. These are just some different ones that I use in terms of the salts. So you can add that in. Magnesium. I like to put magnesium in my water with a few peppermint drops of essential oil because magnesium can sometimes be chalky. But again, you'll know what these different minerals and vitamins are as part of the electrolyte. Now, in the link below, I'm gonna leave a link to the blog post where you will also find this video, depending on where you're watching it. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on the podcast, I will leave a link in the show notes to the blog post so that if you're driving, you can just go back to that blog post and I will detail all of these and where you can best find them. Okay, so I said stick around to the end and I would show you how I combine a lot of these for the ultimate goal of getting all the nutrients I can in a shortest amount of time without having to overthink things through my day. Now, make sure you watch my video on a capsule meal plan, how to create that for yourself so that you don't have to overtax your brain with constantly thinking about what should I be making today? When you have a simple meal plan where you've selected your proteins, your fats, your healthy vegetables, and all of your condiments, it can make it so much easier. One of the things I didn't share, mushrooms are another one of my healthy foods that I like to get on a regular basis. And one thing that I will do is maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks, I will buy a good quality bacon, antibiotic free, all the good stuff, and I'll just use that as a condiment, bacon, mushrooms, onions, and then I love to serve that over the top of my salmon, over the top with some fresh greens, some drizzled olive oil and balsamic, and it is fabulous. And I feel like when I'm eating some of those foods that are on the not so healthy, not so nice list, like bacon, I can do that occasionally as part of my 20%, enjoy myself, and I'm only eating a very, very small amount, but it's satiating, and again, it avoids that feeling of deprivation. And that's what we want to stay out of, especially when we're looking to build a healthy nutrition plan and when we're looking to lose weight, because deprivation can often derail us. All right, so just some things I mentioned. We've got our blueberries. I couldn't start this without starting with my seed recipe, and I showed this. So this little jar, this is a container that something came in. I think it was honestly a bean dip from Trader Joe's. I saved this jar. I put a third to a half a cup of blueberries on the bottom. And I use my coffee grinder to grind the seeds for better absorption, but there's chia seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, and flax seeds in this particular one. The recipe is below. You can go to seeds.lowertoxiclife.com. It has this exact recipe, and it shows how to balance these with your menstrual cycle for the ladies or the moon for men and women who are no longer having a period. Then I mix some healthy coconut flakes. I will put in some walnuts, some pistachio nuts, a little local honey. I do include local honey. I didn't mention that, but I learned a long time ago that when I eat local honey, it eliminates my seasonal allergies. That's another video that's coming. All right, and then I just put about a quarter of a cup of coconut water, organic coconut water, and then I throw this in the fridge and I let it sit overnight. And the next morning I have a beautiful breakfast that again has almost the full amount of fiber that I need for the day. As a woman, I think it has about 25 grams of fiber in it. And I'm set to go. It helps with digestion, elimination, all those good things. So that's a great way to combine the blueberries, the seeds, the walnuts, and for me, local honey. Now you can add cinnamon, cacao powder. You can have some fun with this to add in some of these extra nutrients as you desire. So that's my seed recipe. I mentioned my bulletproof coffee. That's really not exactly one of mine, but I start every morning with that, with the collagen, the butter, and I can eat that or drink that, consume that, and that will, I can easily go 3 to 4 hours before I even feel hungry. All right, so I mentioned making sausage. So again, combining, this is ground turkey. I will throw in my onions and garlic. I will chop up red peppers and put in with it. I will put in spinach, kale. I will chop up cabbage. And I do all of that and do that as a scramble. So I'll make the turkey sausage and then I will scramble an egg in with it. Or if you like your eggs fried or over easy, I don't even really like eggs. I only ever eat them scrambled or in quiche. But this makes a great scramble, and you'll see by the picture below, I will add the eggs, the sausage mixture. If you're vegan or vegetarian, you don't have to add that. You can just do the vegetables. And then I will top that with my healthy avocado. So that's a great way that I can get a number of my healthy brain foods in to one specific recipe. And then I always cook it, saute it with a little bit of olive oil, low heat, saute it in olive oil. You could use coconut oil if you choose. All right, and then another thing that I do is I will stir fry all of my vegetables together, from my green beans, broccoli, cauliflower, red pepper, the garlic, the onions, the cabbage, even the mushrooms. I'll make a giant stir fry, and then I'll use that as the side dish to perhaps fish. Maybe I'll make tuna that day, or maybe I will cook up some organic pasture-raised chicken thighs or regular chicken. I also, as part of my healthy proteins, I eat bison, lamb, and those are my favorites. So wild-caught fish, turkey, chicken, bison, and lamb are my regular standbys. I'm not a beef eater. It's nothing wrong with beef. I just don't particularly care for it. It's a long story. I won't bring into the drama, but that's the way it goes for me. All right, and then I think the only other thing I wanted to add is, watch my bone broth recipe, but so much of this can also be combined for soup. So if you enjoy soup, there's so many of these items that you can put into a healthy soup that's satiating. You can freeze into small containers and use as you want. All right, so that's me. That's my plan for eating healthy, staying fit, staying thin, staying functional into my 50s and beyond, because my goal is to be a centenarian. I don't know what yours is, and these are the foods that I know not only taste fabulous, they're combined quite well. They provide the nutrients, the macronutrients, the minerals, and essential vitamins and all the things that I need in a day. All right, grab my guide, lowertoxiclife.com, and I'll see you on this video on developing a capsule meal plan. Make sure you're subscribed like the cool people are so you don't miss any videos.